Hello everybody and welcome to It Goes Off for another week. New Zealand and Perth still undefeated at the top of the NBL ladder, but as we take a little look back, it's all about Wollongong and it's been all about Mat Campbell and his 500th game. And fortunately enough, in the chair again is a former Mat Campbell teammate, Cam Tragardh. Cam, what a fantastic effort by Matty Campbell to get to 500 games, not only in the NBL, but with one team, the Wollongong Hawks.
Oh, it's a great story. He's an absolute legend, Matty. I was privileged enough to play with him for 3 seasons, and it was really great. I grew up watching him and Sav play, and to get a chance to play with those guys is something I'll always remember fondly. But Matty, he saved the team a few years ago from extinction, played his 500th game. It was nice to do it at home, and with a win, it's a great story.
Certainly is. And courtesy of Hawks TV, let's have a little listen to what Mat Campbell has to say about getting to the 500 game milestone.
Just tell us about the journey from the outskirts of Bendigo, or from wherever Bendigo you're from, to right here, right now. Two nights away from playing 500.
Look, I mean, my journey is similar to a lot of people's, I guess, in the fact that, you know, I started out just playing basketball for fun, never knowing where it could turn into, and my goals at that stage when you're a young kid aren't to play in the NBL. They're just you play basketball because it's a great game to play, and because you enjoy it. And probably wasn't until the stage where I played, you know, got to play some ABA games when I was 14 in Bendigo, and I started thinking, well, maybe, you know, I'm starting to get fairly good at a junior level, and maybe I'll be able to play some seniors. And yeah, as it was, I ended up playing a couple of years in Ballarat and under Brendan Joyce as a coach, and we won 2 championships in the ABA, and from there got my chance in the NBL here at the Illawarra Hawks, 96. Still remember the first game against Leroy Loggins. That was quite a milestone to play against a legend like that here on the State Pit floor, and yeah, from there, history. 499 games later, I'm about to walk into my 500.
There's Mat Campbell, and he's always been a very, very humble sort of guy. He's never blown his own trumpet. But here he is. He's close to 6,000 points as an NBL player. He's won a championship. He's saved the team, as you said before, Trigger. Just an all-round great guy for the league and for his club. No,
fantastic bloke. A great teammate too, always upbeat. When things aren't going well, he's the first guy to pick things up, and if you're down, he'll come and help you out. I can't speak highly enough of him. Great for our game, and yeah, just a fantastic guy.
And if we have a look at the list of the top 10 games played in NBL history, he is joining some very elite company. At the top of the pile, Tony Ronaldson, then Andrew Gaze, Leroy Loggins, Mark Bradkey, Leonard Copeland, Brett Maher, Ray Borner, his longtime teammate Glenn Saville, Paul Rees, James Crawford, and then there coming in at 500, Mat Campbell. Now, by the end of the season, assuming that no fate befalls them where they're injured or whatever the case may be, but by season's end, Sav and Soup, 2 very tasty people I'm sure, are going to be either side of Leonard Copeland in 5th and 7th on the NBL games played list. And that's magnificent.
No, it's a wonderful achievement by both of them, and mainly at the same club. Sav's been there pretty much his whole career as well. They're best mates. It's fantastic. You don't get on that list if you can't play some serious basketball. You don't see many duds on that list. They're all superstars. So, fantastic achievement, and for both of them to do it together is quite amazing.
And the bottom line too was for Matty Campbell on Sunday in that game against Adelaide. He certainly wasn't a passenger. They didn't nurse him to 500. He came out, he played a massive, massive game. He had 16 points. He went 4 of 6 on threes, including the go-ahead 3 with 6 minutes 14 left in the game. So congratulations on the win, and congratulations to Mat Campbell. Now, another guy who may well stick around the league for a long time, I don't know if we'll get to 500 games, but Kevin Lisch, the Perth Wildcats import, his coach, Rob Beveridge, this week suggested that Kevin Lisch might well be not only the best import guard in the league, but the best import full stop. Let's have a little listen to what Rob Beveridge had to say about that.
Bevo, how did you rate Kev's game? That's twice in a row now he's put up some good points.
He's the best import in the league.
Is this his coming of age offensively? Is it going to happen every week?
Yeah, it's good. His balls are finally dropping, and and he's a man now.
We're talking about no.
But no, he is. It's interesting to watch these young guys come out of college and find out what it's about. But he's really grown up. He's matured, and he understands how hard it is and stuff like that. So he's been just outstanding.
Well, there's Rob Beveridge's take on that. Trigger, what's your take? Is Kevin Lisch the best import in the NBL right now?
For me, he's certainly in the top 2 or 3. I think he's the best fit in the NBL right now. I think he's the best fit for Perth. Reminds me a lot of another player, Troy DeVries. I think he's a better version of Troy DeVries, but we saw Troy play very well in Bevo's system at the Sydney Spirit and Razorbacks, but then when moved to Adelaide, struggled a bit. And I think Kevin Lisch would still be an excellent player on an Adelaide or a Sydney, but I don't know if he'd have the same impact with all those studs around him, but he's without doubt the best fit import in the NBL.
For me, Lisch has come up big in big games, especially in the playoffs. And this season, he's averaging 22.5 points per game. He's 6 of 9 on threes on the season. Doesn't shoot it a hell of a lot, but when he does, he usually makes it. And overall, 71% on field goals. You can't do much better than that as a guard.
No, he chimes in so well when needed, and like you said, just makes the big shots. He's not scared of the moment, and he sort of just sits back. It's a bit CJ Bruton-esque, the way sometimes he just sits back, lets it eventuate. If his teammates have got it going on, he's quite happy to distribute the ball, which some imports, where the guys have got it going on or not, they want to take over the game because they feel the pressure on their job. He seems like a great teammate, happy to sit back, and then I think when Bevo says, mate, it's go time, he's more than happy to oblige.
Okay, enough patting on the back. Let's get to a couple of car crashes so far this season. And when we talk car crashes, we're talking the Sydney Kings and we're talking the Gold Coast Blaze, both winless when more, even early this early in the season, was expected of them. What's going on with the Blaze and the Kings?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'll start with the Kings. They're tough games to win. The ones where there's going to be a big crowd. It's your home opener. Huge pressure on Sydney to get that win. New Zealand sort of come in with 2 road wins under their belt already, sort of looking at it like it's a bit of a free roll. So huge pressure on Sydney. I think they can just exhale this week, take a deep breath. It can't get any worse than that, so they can rebuild. I think they'll be all right. And the Gold Coast Blaze, Shane Hill said it last night, backs against the wall. Two hard-fought games. If they drop both of those on the road, it's okay, but to lose both, your opening 2 at home is a bit disappointing.
I'm sure some with the Blaze would point to the fact that they are an import down, but I would still say the personnel they've got should handle Cairns on any given night, especially when Cairns are still without Crosswhite and Loughton.
Yeah.
That should be a winnable game for the Blaze.
I think so. I think they'll look back in the season that's one that they let slip. Their Aussie content is, if it's not in the best in the league, it's probably in the top 2 or 3 up there with Perth. So yeah, I think import or not, they've certainly got enough talent to certainly win that game.
We'll be looking at the Blaze and the Kings to certainly try to get on the winners list by next week. And now on it goes off, our new and hopefully popular segment, Hot and Not. Hot this week goes without saying, Mat Campbell, 500 games, the go-ahead basket. We just tick that one off as an automatic. But our man who was on the Knots last week, Andrew Warren from Cairns, has come back from a scoreless debut and had 16 against Townsville and 28 in the win over Gold Coast. That's a pretty good reply.
That's as good as it gets for a reply to pretty much save your job, I think. There would have been huge pressure on him to perform, and watching that game last night against the Blaze, he couldn't have done anything more. He was amazing. You could see by the end of the game he was absolutely gassed and he had given it everything. So great heart and way to knock down some tough shots and get the win.
2 big games there from Andrew Warren. And the last hot has got to be the New Zealand Breakers, 3-0, all on the road. And I guess this is where I would say that some of us might have made an error in suggesting they wouldn't make the playoffs, but the less said about that, the better. And so do the Knots. And this one's in your backyard, Trigger. Ubacker and Dorsey are combined 0 for 11 from the field against the Wildcats, just 2 points between them.
Yeah, no, I look at that and I think that some of us other players have to take responsibility for that. They're both dead set superstars, and 11 shots for them is just not enough, and 2 for Ron Dorsey is certainly not enough. We watched the tape today, and I take a lot of responsibility myself. A couple of times when I was operating in the post, I missed him a couple of times, and I'll be certainly looking for him in the future, because they're both genuine superstars of the league, as we saw last year and in the pre-season this year. So 11 shots for them is not enough. We certainly have to take some responsibility for that.
Also not hot, the Sydney Kings. They scored just 61 points. They're not even averaging 70 so far this season. They went 12 of 45 on 2-point field goals. That is not going to get the job done. And the final knot has got to be the Gold Coast Blaze at 0-2. With that roster, they should at least have a split by now, if not be 2-0. Disappointing start for the Gold Coast Blaze. Unfortunately, this week on It Goes Off, technical difficulties have precluded us from bringing you a fresh 24-second challenge instalment. But just for old time's sake, we are going to rewind the clock to last season and have a look at Kirk Penny from the New Zealand Breakers and some of the magic he was able to conjure.
Welcome to the 24-second It Goes Off challenge. Joining us this week is Kirk Penny. Kirk, how are you feeling?
Very good, very good. Really looking forward to this. It's a big day for me.
A lot of people are expecting you to break records today. Are you confident you can do that?
I will. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I'm very confident.
All right, let's get it rolling.
All right. Let's go.
That's a good.
9 seconds. One more. Oh! Yes! Oh, big rebound. Thank you. Thank you. Job, BJ. Great work. Job, Tommy. Good job. Thank you, guys. I'm sorry to impress you like that. It's a big day, but hey, keep it real.
Well, Kirk, 17 out of 17, I believe. Pretty good effort, you know, considering the way you shot the ball.
I'm just stoked right now, and there was nothing but net in all of them. I know Andrew Gaze can't deduct any points because that was pure, and from a shooter to a shooter, he understands where I'm coming from. Only he could do that.
A pure shooting display from Kirk Penny.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Ready? It goes off.
Great effort from Kirk Penny there. Very, very funny. And for that effort, he has been deported from New Zealand and the NBL to Spain and to the south of Madrid, never possibly to be seen again. Any more shenanigans like that on It Goes Off on the 24-second challenge will not be tolerated. But to be tolerated every week is the Mark Zukerberg Minute. And Trigger, our fans have been very busy on the Twitter and the Facebook. They just want to talk probably to you more than to me.
No, they sure have. Got a lot of positive feedback from last week and a few new questions during the week. So feel free to hit me up at @ctrigger11 on Twitter if you want any extra questions answered. But no, it's been great.
And at Grantley Bernard and at agaze10 will be back next week. Let's get into the Zukerbergs. And on the Twitter, Smokin' Joe Mercedes, whose real name happens to be Jordan McCallum, has Cedric Jackson from the Breakers put himself on top of the MVP rankings after his and New Zealand's hot start?
Yes, I think he has. He'd certainly be in the top couple. There's a few other good performances so far, but no, he hasn't missed a beat, and he's been running on all cylinders. He's
looking pretty good so far for the Breakers, who are 3-0. This one comes in from Andrew B. Price, and I can tell you now it is aimed at me. Changed your mind on New Zealand being in the top 4 yet? Yes. 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 I think they'll probably make it. Probably just sneak in after a 3-0 start. Don't forget, if you're going to send in a question via Twitter, use the hashtag NBL11 or It Goes Off. On the Facebook page now, and Alexander Velkovic, who says, what are the Sixers doing wrong? They have recruited very well. Why have they struggled in the first 2 games?
Yeah, I don't know if they've struggled in the first 2 games. Certainly no argument with the first game, but that's pretty good effort for mine there. In Wollongong, I don't understand. People think that you just roll in there and win. I don't know what their home win and loss record is the last couple of years, but they haven't dropped. You could probably count it on one hand, the ones they've dropped at home. So to be in a battle, still with no Ballinger, and to battle with the Hawks for that long in that game, I thought it's a pretty good effort, and there's some good signs there for the Sixers.
So better things to come for the Sixers there, according to Trigger. And now for the winner of the Sporting NBL Game Ball is Sam Page, who says on Facebook, can an import play themselves into a job with one good game, even though they stunk up their first couple of games? Not sure who he's referring to here, Trig, but what do you make of that?
I've got an idea who he could be. First of all, a shout out to Sam. I know Sam very well. He's a passionate Wollongong supporter. I think he can certainly prolong his job. I mean, you can't go, 2 or 3 crappy performances, then a good one, then a couple of bad ones, then a good one. But no, certainly he looks like a legitimate player. So I think the first off nerves was, we'll just put it down to that. And I think they've got a keeper there. He looked like a stud last night. Yeah.
I don't think you can play yourself into a job. I certainly think you can play yourself right out of a job. You've got to keep your job. That's the main thing for the imports.
Definitely.
That's the Mark Zukerberg Minute for this week. Don't forget, put your questions on Twitter. You can send them to Trigger, you can send them to me, you can send them to Andrew Gaze, or on the NBL Facebook page. That is the Mark Zukerberg Minute. So round 3 of the IINet Championship coming up this weekend, and we start on Friday night. Down at the Gong, it's the Hawks against the Gold Coast Blaze. Thoughts on this one, Trig?
Can you have a must-win in round 3, and is this a must-win for Gold Coast? I don't think so just yet, but a win down there in the Gong, tough place to play, would really put them back on track.
Also on Friday night, it's not a must-win, it's a someone will win. It's the winless Adelaide 36ers against the winless Sydney Kings.
Yeah, I think Adelaide will be too strong here. I thought they've shown good signs, but expect Sydney to be fired up. If they don't win the game, they'll win the fight, because they've got some bruises on that side. We know, we played them a week ago, so they'll be up for it, and it's going to be a great clash.
Saturday night at the Cage, it's the Melbourne Tigers against the New Zealand Breakers, and I reckon this is going to be the pick of the bunch this week.
Yeah, no, we should be fired up after a pretty average showing last week, and the Breakers are just on fire right now. Someone's got to stop them. It might as well be us.
Up north, it's the Townsville Crocodiles against the Perth Wildcats. So Perth are on the road. This is a tough one. Townsville are on the way up, but still a little undermanned.
Yeah, I think the Perth guards will really get stuck into Townsville's ball carriers. They got some youth up there, Chris Cedar, little Mitchie Norton. They're going to find out what the NBL's all about, I think, against that three-headed monster of Lisch, Robbins and Martin. They're relentless, so I've got Perth in a 10+ up there.
And on Sunday, the round finishes up. The Sydney Kings have got a backup from their trip to Adelaide, and they are at home to the Wollongong Hawks. This has been a good little rivalry over the years.
Yeah, no, I think Sydney might jag this one. Wollongong's second game of the round. They don't traditionally travel that well, even though it's just up the road to Sydney, but I think they'll be a little more relaxed, the Kings, after their home opener, and yeah, I've got them getting the chocolates in this one.
There you are, that's Trigger's take on it. The tips for me will be Wollongong, Adelaide, Melbourne, Perth and the Hawks. I'm right off the Kings. I'm right off. That is it for It Goes Off this week. But before we do sign off, as always, we would like to thank our sponsors, starting with IINet.
1.
Centrebet.
And 1.
Sporting.
Rent Smart.
And Virgin Australia. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks to Cam Tragardh for joining us once again.
No worries, mate.
And as we always say, It goes off.